All right, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I said subscribe button. Hit the like button, do what you gotta do. So today we're gonna talk about late payments. We're gonna talk about removing late payments. We're gonna talk about removing the entire account. We're gonna talk about updating the account, doing what you gotta do. As far as these late payments, if you don't know me, my name is Michael Benjamin. I'm the CEO of Consumer Ammunition Tactics, or CAT. I'm wearing the logo right now. So I talk about consumer law. CAT cares about three things: law, leverage, and legacy. We talk about law, obviously, today. So with late payments, you can obviously do the traditional credit repair ways, but I want to give y'all some consumer laws that you can actually use because I teach consumer law, right? All right. So number one, we're gonna do it in 2 rounds. This is how I want y'all to have the mindset of it, because a lot of times when you dispute initially, they're gonna say something like, "Oh, verified," but don't listen to all that. They can't verify or validate nothing. Best practice, I'll say too, before we even get into it, a lot of times when it comes like these collections, charge-offs, and things like that, you want to send a debt validation letter. A debt validation letter pursuant to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is 15 USC 1692. I'm talking about the validation of debt section, 15 USC 1692G. So go to that section, read it. It's gonna let you know about the things that they have to do to satisfy validating the debt. But at the end of the day, they cannot validate the debt because you, the consumer, are the one that can validate the debt. Also, if we go to the UCC codes, I don't wanna get too deep into that actually. Maybe I'll save that for a separate video. But you can do a request for accounting, and that requires someone that has like an authorized signature to quote unquote verify or validate it. But let's just talk about validation of debt based off of the 15 USC code. So always have that best practice of, let me request validation of debt letter, because the way you want to look at it is you want to be prepared to sue these agencies, these creditors, whatever, right? Because a lot of times they're not going to take you seriously. They're not going to give you your desired result. They're not going to give you your desired deletion. Sometimes they won't. So sometimes you have to take it to that next level, So just keep that in mind that you're building a case on paper. So this is why you want to request a validation of debt, because you're basically showing that you took initiative to actually fix the problem with them before you took it to court, right? Some of y'all may be scared about the whole court thing. I'm just saying, like, it's possible that you might have to do it to get your desired result. Let's talk about the late payments. So whether you have 1 or 18 late payments, at the end of the day, the Fair Credit Reporting Act allows you to have privacy. So I'm gonna cite out some codes, and I just want y'all to be able to use these codes within your dispute. I can't go over, everything in terms of the structure and all that right now, because I want this to be a quick video. But if you go to ctacticsllc.com, you click on deletion letters. We have a late payment deletion letter. It walks you through a couple rounds based off of if, they playing games. All right, number 1. I should have came prepared, but I'm not prepared. I ain't gonna hold y'all. We gonna go to, let's just start from the beginning of the FCRA. There's so many codes. The FCRA, if you don't know, if you're new, is 15 USC 1681. The FCRA is the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Fair Credit Reporting Act, right? Best practices too. A lot of times when it comes to these letters, people are like, okay, send it to the CRAs, the Consumer Reporting Agencies, meaning Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. When you're doing these late payment letters, I want you guys to send, and girls to send it to the creditor, right? So if you have a late payment with like Chase or something, send it to Chase. Use Chase initially before you go forward. And in case I forget this too, best practices as well. I want y'all to do a CFPB complaint, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I'm not saying that they're gonna help your situation, but it's good for a paper trail, because when we talk about building a case, that's building a case. Something that's been very powerful, State Attorney General complaint. So fulfill a State Attorney General complaint. You can also go to helpwithmybank.gov. It's basically the OCC website, Office of the Comptroller of Currency, and it'll allow you to basically see who's regulating the bank, so you know who to actually contact. So there's different things you can do, right? So just keep that in mind. You could also do an FTC report. Sometimes some people just do FTC, and they get everything off, but it is what it is. All right. So 1681. A lot of people sleep on the fact of, in the congressional findings, you have some sauce over there. So 15 USC 1681A, go down to number 4. So number 4 says, Let me start with A. So A says the Congress makes the following findings. Number 4 says there is a need to ensure that consumer reporting agencies exercise their grave responsibilities with fairness, impartiality, and respect for the consumer's right to privacy. So when we talk about your right to privacy as a consumer, that's power right there. I know I'm telling y'all to send, the letter to the creditor, but this is also something you could send to the CRAs, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, if they're giving you problems. So structure this in your letter. It's not enough just to say, okay, this is the quote 15 USC 1681A4, remove the late payment, right? It's not always gonna work like that. I don't know if it has ever worked like that. You gotta explain, what's going on, explain what happened in the transaction, the fact that, you are the consumer, etc. You gotta explain what the actual violation is. A lot of people mess up on that too. So when we talk about the civil liability sections, those of y'all that are familiar with consumer law, when we talk about the civil liability sections, there's 15 USC 1681N and 1681O in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's not enough just to say, oh, that's how they offended me. You have to say what the violation is. Let me give y'all an example of, you have to say what the damage is. The violation is the 1681N, 1681O. An example of a damage is defamation of character, right? It's a defamation of my character that you're reporting this late payment publicly, right? You're messing up my reputation, you feel me? So defamation of character, that's an example of a damage. So really be specific about these damages. A damage as well, aggravated identity theft. Did you give them permission to put that on your report? No, you did not. That brings me into my next point. We're gonna go to 1681B, number 2 is what I like. So 1681B, 15 USC 1681B. We're gonna talk about number 2. So it's permissible purposes of consumer reports. Remember, consumer report is your credit report. So number 2, so it says subject to subsection C, any consumer reporting agency, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, may furnish a consumer report under the following circumstances and no other. Number 2 says in accordance with the written instructions of the consumer to whom it relates. You are the consumer. You are the consumer they're talking about. So if Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion did not give you, you didn't give them written instructions to put that late payment reporting on your report, it has to be off, right? These are the things that people, a lot of people don't understand if they don't know about consumer law. So this is why, I want to expose you to it if you did not know. So I hope, that can help your situation. Just understand 15 USC 1681B number 2, in accordance with the written instructions of the consumer to whom it relates. I didn't write it down. Congress wrote it down. It's right here, right? So read it, put it in your dispute and explain to the creditor, and Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. So 1681B number 2. Remember, this is round 1. In round 1, I'm just giving you guys some laws that you can use. And then in round 2, we're going to use a specific law that I want y'all to be aware of. And that's why I tell you to go directly at the creditor. You can go to the consumer reporting agency too. All right, so yeah, 1681B number 2. Let me give y'all one more law just to play with. I'll give y'all a couple more. All right, so 15 USC 1681. So we're gonna go back to the definition section. So 1681A, 15 USC 1681A. We're gonna go to number 2. Number 2 is the exclusion section. What does exclusion mean? Something that is not included, right? All right, so follow me. 1681A 2AI. That's why I want y'all to write down 15 USC 1681A 2AI. These are laws I'm giving y'all that y'all can use in your first round and letting them know, okay, I pulled my consumer report. I see this late payment reporting. It's not supposed to be there. This alleged late payment, it's not supposed to be on there. All right, so 2AI. It says, except as provided in paragraph 3, the term consumer report does not include. Last time I checked, does not include means it's not supposed to be there, right? All right, does not include. I says report containing information solely as to transactions or experiences between the consumer and the person making the report. Is that late payment that's published on your report, is that not a relation between you, the consumer, and the person, them being a corporation that's making a report? So you want to point them to 15 USC 1681A 2AI and let them know that it's not supposed to be on your report. Is a late payment not an experience? That's an experience that occurred, right? So it's not supposed to be on your consumer report, right? A transaction. Let's say you have Chase, right? You got a Chase credit card. It has a late payment or whatever. it's a transaction because, not to go too deep, but your social security card is a credit card. When we talk about the Truth in Lending Act, 15 U.S.C. 1602L defines a credit card. So your credit card or your social security number was used in this transaction to actually extend a credit to yourself and establish that account, right? So keep that in mind. Transactions and experiences. If you don't understand, what I'm saying with all like the language and everything, the basic summary is that late payments, all these transactions and experiences are not supposed to be included on your credit report, your consumer report, whatever you want to call it. So I'm empowering you and letting you know that you have the ability, you have the power to control what is on your consumer report. So just keep that in mind. So these are laws you can put in your dispute. I'm gonna give y'all one more, maybe two more that you can use in the first round. All right, so 2B, we're still in the exclusion section. So 15 U.S.C. 1681A 2B. Any authorization or approval of a specific extension of credit directly or indirectly by the issuer of a credit card or similar device. That one's a little bit harder for people that don't study consumer law to actually know what it means. But any authorization or approval is basically talking about any situation where you use your credit card. Going back to what I said, 15 U.S.C. 1602L, your social security number is always used in any transaction when you're gonna go get that loan, where you're gonna go get that credit card, where you're gonna go get that whatever that you get, car loan, whatever, to get the late payment on your credit report, right? So that's supposed to be excluded. So in your first round, you put that information, right? Write it down. I pulled my credit report. I have this alleged late payment. You violated the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, 15 U.S.C. 1681A 2B, 15 U.S.C. 1681A 2AI, 15 U.S.C. 1681A number 4. Remember, violation of your right to privacy. I'm gonna give y'all even one more. 15 U.S.C. 1666. This is very powerful. It's correction of billing error. I'm gonna let y'all do y'all research. You can go do your due diligence over there. But like I said, understand, we have a late payment deletion letters. It's on catactusllc.com. If you click on deletion letters, you can go ahead and grab that. You can see how the letters are and then walk y'all through. But do not just send out the letter as is, right? I write it down over there too. It's a template. You gotta think, a lot of people are purchasing a template. If everybody's sending out the same thing, obviously it's not gonna be as effective, right? So keep that in mind too. So you send out your letter. Let's say they say, oh, verified or whatever. Maybe you send out a debt validation. Maybe you sent out, your letter with the laws. Don't worry. What we've done, okay, once you send out your letter too, like I said, best practices, file with the CFPB. File with the BBB, Better Business Bureau, just for, filing purposes. File with the State Attorney General. State Attorney General, file in the state of where that situation is going on and your state as well, just to cover both bases, right? I've seen that be very, very powerful, filing a State Attorney General complaint. Go to the OCC as well. So just have all of these things that you're filing and keep copies of everything. Remember, we're establishing and assuming we're gonna go to court, right? If it has to get to that level, you feel me? So once you send out that's your first round. It's important because you gotta understand that you've given them a reason to understand that the information is what? Inaccurate. Inaccurate meaning it's a violation of the FCRA. These damages they've established to you. They've committed aggravated identity theft. They've committed defamation of character, right? Because they're putting this public information on your report that's not supposed to be on there, you feel me? So understand that. Because you've given them a reason to know that it's not supposed to be on there, we're gonna hit them with this powerful law in round 2. So this is 1681S-2. If you know about consumer laws, you know how powerful this law is. It's called Responsibilities of Furnishers of Information to Consumer Reporting Agencies. This is why we wanted to send a letter directly to the creditors versus the consumer reporting agencies. Remember what I said, responsibilities of furnishers of information to consumer reporting agencies. So it's responsibilities of the furnishers. These creditors are the furnishers, right? In round 1, we told them this information is inaccurate, delete it. It's gonna be a violation of $1,000 per 1681N. Per 1681O, at least $2,000 is what y'all gonna owe me for keeping this late payment on my report, right? So you let them know the information is inaccurate. It's a violation of 1681A2AI because it was a transaction, it was an experience. So now what we do, we go to 1681S-2. Duty of furnishers of information to provide accurate information. Prohibition. 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 All right, so what does it mean for something to be prohibited? It means it's not allowed, right? That sounds like exclusion as well. So it says A1A, reporting information with actual knowledge of errors. A person, remember, a person doesn't have to be me and you. It could be a corporation, meaning these creditors. A person shall not furnish any information. If you don't know how powerful the word any is, it means no restriction. So any information could be late payments, collections, charge-offs, etc. A person shall not furnish any information relating to a consumer, you and I, to any consumer reported agency. So that doesn't just include Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Remember how powerful the word any is, anybody. They shall not furnish any information relating to a consumer to any consumer reporting agency if the person knows or has reasonable cause to believe that the information is inaccurate. What do we do in round one? We let them know and let them know they have reasonable cause to believe that the information is inaccurate. We said 1681A2AI, this is a transaction experience that needs to be removed. We said 1681A4, this is a violation of my right to privacy. 15 USC 1666, correction of billing error, right? 1681A2B, it's an authorization, based off of that credit card and the transaction. So we let them know they have reasonable cause to believe that the information is inaccurate, so it must be deleted from our consumer report. Keep that in mind, right? So, that's basically what you got to do as far as removal of deletion of that late payment. But when it comes to your own situation, this is the whole point of the video. I wanted to talk about, there's a difference between removing the late payments specifically or deleting the entire account. And it's very, very simple. A lot of y'all make this super, super deep. What you want to do, if you just want to remove specific late payments, direct them in your letter. You, the consumer, have the power. Direct them in your letter. Specify that you want your accounts that you want to stay to be updated to good payment history, meaning 100% payment history. So if you have like 1 or 2 late payments, maybe it's 99%. You want those late payments deleted, the late payments, and specify. You want the account to be updated in good standing, 100% payment history. If the account doesn't have like any history, because length of credit history is important. If it doesn't have any length of credit history, and you're in a situation where you could actually delete the entire account, you could say delete the late payments, delete the entire account. Don't make this consumer law stuff too deep. I know it can get deep, but just literally direct them. This is why I'm saying, like, if you get our template letter, you can't just put the template letter and then just send it out. How do we know if you want to delete the specific late payments or delete the entire account, right? So these are the things you got to understand when you're customizing your own letter. So keep that in mind. If you need help, you can book a consultation with me and we can go through your letter and see, how we can make it more effective. But yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if this is helpful. Keep me updated on y'all journeys. Understand your power, keep studying, and then you're going to get your desired result. Y'all have a blessed one.